let's talk about the dogs you have, because you
Mhm.
briefly mentioned the Great Dane who you recently rescued. Is that your foster failure puppy?
Yes,
Yes.
Layla is my
Okay.
foster failure.
Tell us about Layla.
Sure. Normally she loves to come in and, steal the show. She
Yeah.
usually walks in and gives me a kiss, but
Where is she? She's no.
morning is her downtime.
Oh, okay.
So she
She's
was
not a
right
morning
here.
dog. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I could tell she went downstairs. So,
She's like, I'm bored with you people.
yeah. So Layla, never in a million years did I think I would have a giant breed dog. Never, never, never. Um, and Layla her mom was a humane case pull.
Mm-hmm.
So a backyard breeder had a bunch of Great Danes that they were horrifically breeding.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time, I was actually a board member for a local shelter, and her mom was put into foster and then had her puppies. And then once they became 8 weeks old and were spayed too early, which we probably don't have time for that conversation, but maybe at another
If you
time.
have, yeah, and if you have time, I've got time because that is a big
So
issue.
I literally got her the day after she was spayed at 8 weeks and got all her
Mm,
vaccines on the same day that she was spayed. Again,
mm,
way too much for the
Ambered.
system to handle.
Mhm.
So I had this puppy with the full intent of fostering her. And I I was good for a couple of weeks, and then she started to really show me a side of her that reminded me of another dog that was really like my heart dog.
Mm,
Um, so um, so I just ended up falling in love with her, and I really think I am capable of becoming a foster at some point. I think but that's another story too. So Layla has been with me since she was 8 weeks old and been
mhm.
eating raw food since she was 8 weeks old.
Nice. Nice.
So I have her on joint support because she was spayed so early. I am very worried about her ligaments and her tendons because hormones are so important, and muscle development are so
Mhm.
important for the development of that and her bladder.
Yeah.
So Layla every other week goes for hydrotherapy.
Aw,
So you can find this on my Instagram and Facebook, but I usually
I'm
post a
gonna have to
video of
follow you.
her. And she does, they also do an athletic fitness class. She does a little bit of a fitness class too.
I love
So,
it.
right?
I just
So,
love it, yeah.
um, and I did that as prevention. I'm doing this
Mhm.
as prevention. So
Right.
she has become very agile. She's very muscular.
Mhm.
Her bladder, I'm going to look into hormone replacement therapy because
Yeah.
I've already self-diagnosed her with a UTI.
Mhm.
She has voided her bladder a couple of times for
Yeah.
me
Mhm.
in her sleep. So
Yeah.
she's already showing early signs of
Mhm.
incontinence, which is what happens when we spay too early.
That's right.
So I'm going to look into hormone replacement therapy and
Great.
um, see if I can help her
Help
along
a
the
little
way.
bit. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because yeah, the whole and I have to tell you that I helped open up a low cost spay neuter clinic, and it was all back in the day, you've got to spay and neuter, you got to do this, you got to do that. And it's like, okay, we do. I'm not saying it's good to offer that to a whole nother sect, but the research, maybe adult dogs or maybe a little bit older, or if you want to spay and neuter, wait until, especially with the giant breeds, wait until they're, maybe 3 years old, maybe a little older,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
um, because of all of that, because of everything you mentioned, because of bladder control, because of cancer, because cancer actually turns up more in early spay and neuter than it does in intact male and females. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of misinformation out there, in my opinion, and scientifically from what I've researched, and just growth plates,
Yes.
period.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And vets are getting on board with this research. They really are. I hear it all the time, but
Mm-hmm.
it's the shelters that's how do we get the shelters to hold off a little bit? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
at least with the dogs, because kittens can start getting pregnant. Layla, come here
Right
and say
after.
hi. Layla, here.
She's like, "Do you have a chicken leg? I heard you
I
talking
know.
about." Where's that other dog got a raw chicken leg? What about me?
There she
Oh
is.
my goodness, baby girl.
There she
Oh, she's
is.
so
Oh, there she-
pretty. I love that her ears are natural. She still has everything.
oh yeah.
Yay.
Oh yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, that's right. Because you had her since 8 weeks. So of course
Yeah.
you're not
Heck
gonna do that. Right, right.
no way.
Yeah, yeah.
No
No,
way.
absolutely not. Nothing. No, no, none of the snipping anywhere.
No, no,
Really. That's
no.
excellent. Now, do you want to just talk about for the people to know you have a giant breed
Mhm.
dog and you had her since 8 weeks and you started feeding her raw straight away.
Yes.
Talk to people about that as a puppy and also a giant breed. Like, what do you or is there anything you need to be careful of when
So
feeding
yeah, so rearing her on raw food, the worry with giant breed dogs and their growth plates is that they grow too quickly.
raw? Right.
And they will grow too quickly if they are completely fed a kibble-based diet.
Mm-hmm.
Feeding them raw food slows their growing down. And I shouldn't say slow, but it puts it at the normal rate that it would be.
Mm-hmm.
So her growth plates are coming. She's growing slowly. You can tell. Like
Mm-hmm.
she's not even 100 pounds yet.
Nice.
So that's and she's a female, so she's not going to be one of those 150 pounders.
Right.
Um, but when a lot of times I'll hear people say, well, I'll keep the puppy on kibble and then switch to raw when they're an adult. And I don't understand, but I hear it a lot. I don't understand where that philosophy is. They need that raw food more so when they're puppies and when they're growing and when they're developing the bladder muscles and the ligaments and the tendons and the muscles. They need
Yeah.
all that in the beginning more than they need it later.
Uh-huh.
So it's imperative
Yeah.
to, and she's still, I struggle with her keeping her at a good weight. So I do
Mm-hmm.
give her a little bit of kibble.
Yeah.
She gets a ton of goat's milk.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I do that a lot for her bladder and her digestive
Yeah.
system, and it's
Mm-hmm.
good calories and good fats. But that UTI that I self-diagnosed, I treated her herbally with and gave her extra goat milk, and
Yeah.
she cleared it.
Nice. So tell me about the goat milk. Tell me what's so great about it.
So raw goat's milk is like mother's milk to them. It is a full
Mm-hmm.
nutrient profile. I have always used the Answers brand. And if
Mm-hmm.
you locally can get raw goat's milk, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
The Answers brand and the Solutions brand,
Mm-hmm.
they ferment their goat's milk, and they also have kefir. So
Excellent.
the fermentation process increases those probiotics.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not pasteurized either. So it's very important to feed that on a daily basis and it helps with allergies, immensely helps with allergies and dental
Mm-hmm.
health.
Yeah.
So they not only could survive just solely on goat's milk, but they would actually thrive on goat's milk.
Interesting. Yeah. The probiotics and especially with the fermentation
Mhm.
is just mind blowing. Actually, funny that you're bringing this up. I literally just watched a show last night. It's a reality show actually, and they had to go milk a goat
Uh-huh.
and eat. They had to get their prize. It had to be certain amount, and they had to eat the goat's milk yogurt that's all fermented and everything. And they're sitting there as this 102-year-old grandma. I can't remember the country they're like, it's because of the yogurt, it's because of the goat's yogurt. And I was like, that's right, because you all know the digestive tract is linked to your brain health and everything in your body. So of course she's not looking like she's 102 either,
I bet not.
so it was just really funny. And it's so funny that you brought that up. But yes, that natural fermentation from not cow's milk, but from goat's milk
Yep.
makes a huge difference for sure. And do you feed that to her or to all your pets, like within their raw diet or separate, or what do you do with that?
So over the years, some I've done separate from their raw food and some I've done with the raw food. So it just
Mhm.
depends. And it honestly
Yeah.
doesn't matter one way or another. Layla
Mhm.
loves to drink her goat's milk.
Yeah.
She
I
gets
love
a healthy bowl, probably at
that.
least a cup and a half twice a day.
Nice.
So, and then I don't give it to Bo. Well, he gets a smidge. Bo is my 13-year-old cattle dog.
Mhm.
He did not come from a rescue. I'm his third home. So it was from home to
That's right.
home to home. And
Yeah.
he's a nipper. And
He's a cattle dog.
yeah, he's a cattle dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he is what he is. And he wasn't trained right early out of the gate.
Mhm.
And so I had a boyfriend when we adopted Bo, and Bob and I did not see eye to eye on training,
Mhm.
you know,
That's hard.
at all. It was and I
Mhm.
just gave up because
Yeah.
he's the kind, oh no, you can't put him in a crate. That's so mean. And I'm like, it's just, I tried. I'm like, it's just a temporary situation. We had other
Mhm.
dogs in the household. It's the safest space for it. He just couldn't
Mhm.
do it.
Yeah.
So, and Bob had super high anxiety.
Mhm.
Bo is what he is at this point, and he's
Yeah.
13. And full disclosure, I would
Mhm.
never intentionally get a Great Dane puppy while I had a 13-year-old cattle dog.
Right.
So interesting life events, but Bob and I broke up in 2022.
Mhm.
We had 2 cattle dogs at the time, a red and a blue. Bo is
Mhm.
blue. And we, of course, one was more bonded to me and Bo was bonded to Bob.
Mhm.
So my red healer died in February.
Mm.
Um,
I'm sorry.
it's okay. It
Yeah.
was a crazy story, but he died in February. And I always take breaks between dogs.
Mhm.
So I took a little break and then Layla came along. So I just had
Mhm.
Layla.
Yeah.
And then Bob died.
Ah.
So Bob was riding his mountain bike and was electrocuted
Holy
while riding
crap.
his mountain bike. Yeah, it was a crazy
Wow.
story all over the
Oh my
news here in
gosh.
Pittsburgh. It was horrible.
Wow.
It was horrible.
Oh
And
my
he
god.
had Bo, and Bob died June 18th, the anniversary of our
Mhm.
first kiss.
Oh, wow.
Bob died June 18th,
Ugh.
June 19th. It was late in the evening, and June 19th in the morning, I'm starting to hear what's happening, and I'm like, where is Bo? Where is Bo? Thinking Bo was so his best friend and I, Bob's best friend and I went and picked up Bo.
Mm.
Fortunately, he was with Bob's girlfriend at the time, but
Um,
and Bo's been with me ever since.
Sense, yeah.
Um, but having he and
Mm.
Layla together has been a challenge,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
much.
It is a challenge, especially, I mean, for so many reasons, but he's older,
Yeah.
and whoever did whatever they did before you guys got him, shaped his behavior. And
Mhm.
like I said, he's a healer. He needed a job. And I don't know if he's an older, some 13-year-olds are like, I'm 13, like, just leave me alone. Or, hey, I'm
That's
13, but I'm still going. Is he like, leave me
he's
alone?
he's still going, but he
Mm-hmm.
wants left alone from and he's always been that kind of dog. He
Mm-hmm.
wants left alone. He's not oh, cuddle me, love me, love me.
Mm-hmm. Even
Um,
with people,
even with people.
he's very
Um,
independent.
even with, his people, with With me and
Yeah.
Bob, he was very like, I'm good. You're there. I'm here. I got this. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
So he's still very healthy and going along very well, but he
Mhm.
just doesn't want bothered with a puppy.
Yeah, totally.
So, which is understandable.
100%. Yeah.
So we
So,
manage.
yeah, and Layla needs so many more enrichment toys filled with that goat yogurt.
And lots
And
of
Bob too.
we do, and we do lots of walks, and we do lots
Yes,
of drop-in training classes with
I
lots of
love
other
it.
dogs, and
It's
that
wonderful.
kind of blows. And yeah, we do, and the hydrotherapy every other week, and her
Mhm.
fitness class, and
I love it.
walk
Tell me
through
about her
those.
nice. Tell me about her fitness class,
So
just
her fitness
before I
class
forget.
is, it's at the same place that we do hydrotherapy.
Uh-huh.
And she Meredith is the owner.
Mhm.
Steel City Canine Rehab is the name of it. Great
Mhm.
place. So before she goes in for her hydro, she's got this open room, and Meredith brings out different types of platforms for her to place on.
Mhm.
So, and some of them are those wobbly balls, or the balls with the like the nubs all over them.
Mhm.
Some are squishy, some are hard, some are high, some are low.
Mhm.
So she just works on her placing on all of those, from one to the other to the other to the
Mhm.
other. It's fascinating. I have,
Amazing.
yeah, it's so great for her. And she just, the most recent different thing she did was the hurdles. So just like 6 inches off the ground, she
Right.
had, the hurdles. She
Yeah.
put 3 out, and Layla rocked it. She just walked right through. Um,
Mhm.
so it's just not only good for her development of her joints and her stability and
Mhm.
maneuvering different, you know, environments, but it's also enrichment for her and
Yeah.
mentally works her,
Yes. Yes. I think the
right?
mental enrichment is key
Hmm.
because, we're talking about a purebred like, um, Bob. I'm not Bob, I'm sorry. Um,
Bo.
Who talks Bo. We're talking about I'm sorry, talking about Bo is a healer, and that's his job,
Uh-huh.
and he didn't get a job when he was a puppy,
Right.
but even though maybe the first owner didn't have sheep or anything around,
Hmm.
they could have provided for him, like with the puzzle toys
Hmm.
or the fitness. I love the fitness class. It sounds very similar to what they also do with like therapy dogs and when they're puppies and service dogs when they're puppies, just getting them used to different surfaces and also puppy culture that breeders do where they're seeing, let's get this puppy used to this kind of surface. How is this puppy on this kind of surface? Do
Uh-huh.
they avoid it? That type of thing. So, but yeah, that mental stimulation, like, all behind me, most of that stuff is, like, puzzles, there's clickers, some treat pouches, I'm looking back there, there's, like, Kong toys, there's a couple new, um, toys I found over the holidays that are enrichment toys, I was like, "This is brilliant,"
Hmm.
but it's all for their mental health.
Hmm.
Now, I try to explain to people, and I'm sure you do too, that
Hmm.
how important that is for them. Now, I want you to speak on that. Just, I people hear me talk about on that all the time, but you speak on that.
I absolutely can speak on it. And I think we as humans underestimate how much energy our dogs have, and cats, and
Oh,
how intelligent they are. I just think we underestimate it. And we're also expecting them to live in an environment that truly is not natural to them.
yeah, right.
Living in a house, like, yes, dogs chose us supposedly, they came into our pack supposedly.
Mhm.
So, but it's not a natural environment. And I feel
Right.
like this more for cats than I do for dogs, because cats are
100.
more hunters than our dogs truly are.
Yeah,
So, and we wonder why they have anxiety. And then we feed them shit food that has
exactly.
red dye in it, or
Yes.
sugar,
Which are
or
finally taking off the market.
Yes,
Red dye. Mm-hmm.
yes, finally.
Finally.
But and I just think they're misunderstood by so many of us.
Agreed.
And we're I hate to say it, but I feel like we're doing them a disservice because they are human's best friend.
Yeah.
And, they give us so much and they ask for nothing in return.
So 100% true. And it's very unconditional also.
Mhm.
Um, you know, we would say back in the day, like, if you locked your best friend in a closet and you opened the door a day later, they would be really pissed off at you. If you did that to a dog, they'd come out wagging their tail
Wagging
like,
their tail. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so glad you came back.
Yes.
And but yeah, absolutely. And I also try and explain to people that what if we took your cell phone away? What if we took this away? What would that be like for you? A lot of people wouldn't be able to make it very far at all, you
Not at
know?
all. Not at
And
all.
that's to some people, that's enrichment, or we took their, whatever their exercise activity is, or
Mhm.
their food away, or, just made it so like you're a dog and this is it. And, you're going to walk you on a leash and that type of thing. And it's not like that. I find that that it is changing a lot more, but there's still that mentality out there of old school, old fashioned, outdated, non-scientific training out there, or feeding, or vet care, or any of that you and I have talked about today. Um,
There's so much to it. I mean, we could go on and on and on, but
yes,
working in the stores and being on the sales floor for 16 years, can I tell you how many conversations I've had about anxiety and separation anxiety and
yes. That's why I think our small businesses are so crucial,
yes.
because we care so much. We're putting in the work, we're getting the education, we're doing the different workshops and conferences, and we're able to get it to the people. Whereas like a big box store, they're not going to have that kind of time either, or take that time, or train their staff to do that.
They might not even say hello to you.
That
And
is also very true.
they might not even say hello.
Yeah.
And an independent pet store, that's also a place that you can go that people, if you say to them, please don't pet my dog, or please make my dog sit, don't
Yeah.
let my dog jump on you. Like
Hmm.
they get that. They're
Right.
not going to promote that bad behavior. They're going to help you in your training journey, right?
Yes. 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 100%, which is excellent. Excellent.